All right, ladies, gentlemen, boys, girls, and of course, fishing accomplices. Good morning and welcome back to Fishin'. So it is mid-June right now. We are about to go fishing. At least that's what the plan is. Very early. It's almost 5 o'clock. Could be earlier, but this is where I decided to draw the line today. Yeah, we're not going too far from home today. We're going to be fishing the western Sound up in New York City waters, hoping to get on some striped bass. I'm not quite sure what we're about to encounter right now. I haven't fished this particular spot in quite some time, but I know that it can go off this time of year, so I'm 50-50 on this is going to be more of a lure or bait bite, and that's assuming that the bass are even around. If they're not, then the only really option I have is trying to jig some fluke or maybe bluefish or whatever's around the shallows or, fairly shallow water, but we're going to call it like we see it. Bass is the number one plan. That's why we're getting up early for them, and that's assuming we can even get in the water to the place I'm going to right now. I've had issues with this launch before, so hoping, fingers crossed, that it works out, but whatever. Not too much of a big deal, but we're taking the first step, which is getting out of the water, so we're going in the right direction. So stay tuned, because you know what we're about to do. Get some fishing accomplished.
All right, well, we're on the water Sunrise, and we're just going to troll this Elias shad as we get to the first spot I want to try. Not expecting much, but it's worth a shot, so we'll just chuck that guy back there and see what happens. I'm going to leave the camera off. If we do get something, we'll come back in, of course. All right, spent a bit of time trolling around, checking out different spots, seeing if there's any bass around, and haven't really seen much, so we are going to try some bottom jigging. We're just going to cast a very wide net, as we like to do, with some gulp. Got a 1/2 ounce jig head. Tide's not great. It's pretty slack right now, so I'm not terribly optimistic, but I'm hoping once that tide does start moving, maybe it'll improve our chances on every front. So let's see what we can do.
Yeah, so as stated earlier, the original plan was to try and get striped bass, but they were really not showing at first light. And I think part of that was just because it wasn't a very good tide. It was pretty much slack, near peak tide. It works a little differently in this area, which I won't get into, but long story short, I wasn't really seeing any signs of life in several of the spots that I looked at, so I decided to cut my losses and try and find whatever I can find at the bottom, which meant jigging gulp, a variety of different types, and it was challenging between the tide, and it was actually a pretty stiff wind working against it as well. It was a bit bumpy, so I didn't get to explore nearly as much as I probably should have, but I did target a few spots that I thought might have some fish, to mixed results.
There we go. I think that's a fluke. Oh, it's a bass. Baby bass. Alright, well, all is not totally lost. This is what I was hoping to find, but much larger. Just got a small schoolie on the paddle shad. So not a total skunk today, but really would like to upgrade from that.
Yeah, so after finding that striper, I decided to hit some key pieces of structure that I was noticing in relatively shallow water, in the neighborhood of 15 to, let's say, 30 feet of water. And there were, every so often I get a few bites, but a lot of them were very non-committal. Like, they grab it and spit it out, a lot of times yanking the tail off the lure. So I kept trying this, but as I said before, it was very nasty, the wind, so I didn't really go too far, just because I didn't want to put myself in a real uphill battle having to travel back to launch. But eventually I did find a spot where there was a bit more life.
There's a fish, and there it goes. That might have been bottom. Might have been bottom. That was a fish. Oh man. Definitely just had a decent bite in the last drift. took the tail clean off, so it was a fish. Thought it might be bottom, but it was something. I don't know what. Maybe a fluke, maybe a porgy, maybe a sea robin. But we're gonna go over it again to see if we can get him a bite again. There he is. What is it? It's a fluke. It's a nice fluke. It's a very nice fluke. Just playing with it. This might be our first fluke on our new nut. Yeah, it's a fluke. Definitely a fluke. Big fluke. Very nice fluke. Yeah, it's a nice fluke. Oh, God. Heck yeah. First keeper fluke I ever pulled out of here. Not that I try a lot, but take them. Not too bad. Not bad for a sound fish. Very nice. Alright, let's see where we're at. It's about 20. Just about touching 20 inches, so it's pretty good. That just shows that it pays to be thorough. I could have easily missed that fish or overlooked him, but I missed either that fish or another fish the first time around, and decided to go over that a few more times, and it paid off. And you know, he missed it a few times before we got him, so we're gonna try that a few more times. If there's one fish there, there certainly could be another one, but yeah, I'm happy to at least be taking something home today. So let's see if we can salvage this pretty tough session. All right, first keeper fluke in the Western Sound this year, and honestly, if I'm not mistaken, I think it's my only fluke in the Western Sound so far this year, so not a bad start. And if there's one, there certainly could be more. There it is. It's not a fluke. That's a good catch fish. Back down. There he goes. Oh no, I felt him playing with it for so long. Felt decent. Okay, again, just had another hit. Probably had the fish on for a sec. Bit the tail off, didn't really set into that hook, so we're gonna try again, but we're gonna try with this mini Mackinaw shad, see if we can get these fish to commit a bit more, because I think a lot of the bait is just really small. So there was a big school of bait. If we can find that, we'll see if we can drop right back down, see if we can hold with the mini Mac and see if we can get some commitment. Yeah, got some bait under us. Got him. What I tell you, that mini Mac. First try. Yeah, it feels, it's close. Good practice if nothing else. This new net, he looks a little short. See, that fish should have been easily able to take that that gulp presentation, but very picky. Yeah, this fish is probably like 17 and a half, but shows there's some nice ones. Yeah, it's about 18 18. All right, just got another fluke, about 18 inches. That fish was right under a pile of bait. I'm gonna try and see if I can replicate that on the mini Mac.
So after that fish, I decided to fish for just a little bit longer. I tried a few more drifts, but didn't really get any real action. I did check to see if the stripers were around, and I did start to mark some. They were basically right where I was expecting them to be, but they would not touch anything that I threw. And I threw pretty much everything I had at them. So I think if I had bait, it probably would have made a difference. Again, this was once that tide really started to move, but I just didn't feel like trying to go for that all day and have it not work in my favor. And I was tired, so I left him there and decided to pick it up early the next morning. Only this time I was fishing in the South Shore of Long Island. All right, what is up, folks? We are back. Yeah, I'm assuming this is a two-part video. Yesterday we were fishing the North Shore, and today we are fishing the South Shore of Long Island, specifically the bay. Doing that for a number of reasons. Yesterday could have technically been its own video, but it was pretty short on action, so I've decided to kind of collab it with this, and we're kind of doing a North Shore, South Shore type deal. But yeah, I want to, stock up the freezer a bit, so I think I got a better shot with what I'm doing today, and I have a little bit more time to go further. Not a ton. Additionally, we got some winds that are going to make things a bit challenging, so I'm going to a place where I think the wind won't be as much of an issue, though it will probably be an issue. But we should have a very nice tide to work with, fishing the full outgoing, basically the same area I was at last week. And for those of you that want to see me kind of branch out, I promise you in the next 2 or so weeks that is going to happen once my time working at school concludes for the school year. I'm going to be moving in many more different areas, so you can look forward to that soon. But in the meantime, do whatever I can to get on some fish in the time that I have it. So yeah, let's make our way over, and let's hope we still get some fishing accomplished.
Okay, similar to last time, we're getting in, the tide shouldn't be moving too much, but I do find while it might be a tougher bite, this is generally when the bigger fish might be caught. So we're gonna, again, cast a wide net, just throw a plain gulp grub, 4-inch, on just a 3/8 ounce jig head, and just jig this along where I think there could be some action, and we'll see what we can do. Little fluke. That works. At least it's an improvement. Okay, we're gonna move spots. I don't want to invest too much in that area, so we just finished our coffee, and since it's a two-part video, I'm assuming it's time for breakfast of champions. You know what it means, folks. It is time for the seltzer of the day. And you know how we feel about Nixie in this channel, so this is strawberry hibiscus. I don't think I've reviewed this one, though I might have. Like strawberry. I'm not sure how I feel about the hibiscus aspect, but it's pretty zesty. Can't go wrong with that. That's a round 8, and I don't think there'll be any aftertaste issues like last week. So let's make our way to the next spot and go somewhere a little deeper and see if we can pull some fish out of this one particular area. Depending on how that goes, we might then move to one of our more tried and true spots in this area, but we'll figure something out. Been pretty slow so far. I'm gonna try the gulp for the rest of this long drift, and if we don't really get anything, we're gonna switch to the mini Mac and see how that does, because we're not really moving much, and sometimes the water clarity between that and just changing profile, it sometimes makes a pretty big difference. So we'll see how that does. Ooh, yeah, that's better. That's a better fish. That's a good fish. Good fish. Really nice fish. See how the new net handles this one.
One thing I want to spotlight right now is the water clarity is absolutely atrocious. Like, I cannot see these fish until they're literally right there in front of me. And even then, I really can't see them. So there was a couple times that really caught me off guard, but let's get back to it.
Feels good. It's 100% a keeper fluke. Can't see anything. There's the leader. There he is, barely big. I can't really get a good gauge of how big. Yeah, that's a nice one. That's a really nice fish. Heck yeah. Heck yeah. 23, 24 incher at least. Just spit it too, so we played that just right. We don't need to worry about this one being 19. That's a nice fish. Might be the biggest one I've gotten. So, oh no, 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 no! Nice try. Nice try. That's a nice fish. Alright, I'm gonna rest a little easier now. Official measure. Found that this ruler might be a little bit off, and fortunately, you know, small. I measured a fish yesterday. The one I got yesterday, it said it was 20, just under 20, and then when I got home I measured him and he was 20 and a half. So this one's just about touching almost 23 and a half. But I'm guessing that fish is probably closer to 24 if it's the same issue. Really nice fish. Heck yeah. All right, well, we were thinking about changing from gulp, but it's hard to do it after getting that fish, so let's put him back. If we get on a bit more action, we'll start mixing things up, but in the meantime, we're gonna try that drift again. See if we can find that fish a roommate. Alright, I've been mixing up, trying some different things, just because I don't have a lot of gulp grubs, and I want to see if I can find something else that will get a decent bite and response from these fish. So we're going to try this 4-inch gulp paddle shad. This lure generally does very well for me. I generally prefer the 5-inch, but since a lot of this bait is on the smaller side, I think this might be just fine. So we'll see what we can do with that. Oh, weak fish. Yeah, I was thinking I might see these guys in the next spot I look at, but here we are. Paddle shad's probably ruined. Ooh, yeah, that's better. Close. Might put that one back even if he is 19. Probably like 18. That's a good one. That's a good one. Maybe not. He's lightening up. Had me going for a sec. These are all nice shorts though, so that's a good sign. Like a 17-incher probably. All right, those paddle shads are working really good, but the problem is that they're getting torn to shreds. I mean, usually they hold up pretty well for me, but this batch is not doing super great. So I'm gonna try the Elias shad, Mackinac shad. Usually this is like ideal if, you know, you're on a hot bite. I don't have to keep it down there too long with the Proke here, so if they're there and they want it, they'll take it. Very similar presentation, but these I think are a little tougher. Let's see what we can do. We're getting to those micro Fluke again. Happier with the ones I was getting before. Wow. Impressive. Sorry, buddy. All right, I'm gonna try this like one more time and then I'm gonna make a move. There's one more spot I want to check out before I start heading back, because we're about to lose the tide in the next hour. Doesn't mean that the bite is over, but it's gonna get a lot tougher to find fish. And I gotta start making my way out of here. Got some errands to run this afternoon. Ooh, wow. Felt really good for a sec, but now it just feels good. Easy does it, easy does it. There's the leader. Oh. It's a lot bigger. Just a weird angle, I guess. Yeah, it's not big. It's like 17. Man, that fish at first felt like it was going to be a giant, but he was just in the current in a weird way. Not a terrible fish, but was hitting way above its weight, I'll say that.
Yeah, so after this, I decided to move around a little bit as we were in the final stages of outgoing tide. And I just wanted to check out a few spots I haven't really given attention to this particular year. Though I didn't really hang around there too much because the wind really started to get a little nasty. And as I said, the tide wasn't great. So I didn't really feel confident that I'd get what I was looking for there. So I started to head back, and I hit up a few spots that I knew have been productive on the way back to mixed results, which we'll jump into now.
That's a sea robin. Classic sea robin. Classic sea robin. Fluke. Just sneak another keeper out. That's it. We get this one, we're out of here. That's what we've been waiting for. That is a very big fish. Like, why am I still fishing? This is why I'm still fishing. Put this net to the test right now, folks, I tell you what. Oh, yeah. It's not that big, he's hooked weird, but still, it's a keeper. He's coming up real weird. Another quality fish right there. Probably 21 inches, maybe 22.
Second. Foul hook fish will always get you.
Certain this is over 20 or 19, but probably also over 20. He's about 20-ish. Proper measure to get home. Like 20 and a half. Okay, we got that fish bleeded out. I'm gonna give it 2 more drifts and we gotta go. I gotta get out of here. I do not want to get stuck in rush hour traffic. And it's so easy to just keep fishing, but yeah, that fish got me going. That 1 second I thought it was going to be a doormat or a very nice shower mat, and it's a nice fish, make no mistake, but that initial run I thought it was game over.
All right, well, I'm going to do my outro in the car today after how terrible it sounded doing my outro last time in the wind. Say I learned my lesson. It was not easy to leave those fish today. They were definitely starting to turn on as I left, but unfortunately, I had to run and I got to do some things at home, which are equally, if not more important. But yeah, the key is obviously just knowing the best spots to hit when that tide is moving. It's crazy how much different it is fishing in the Sound this time of year than the Western Sound, specifically than those South Shore bays. I mean, it's a completely different type of fishery, don't get me wrong, but it's like you're fishing for almost like it feels a completely different kind of fish. Truth be told, I wasn't really planning to fish for Fluke yesterday in the first half of this video, but that was really the best option I had because the bass were not cooperating in the morning. That bite will definitely start to warm up as the season gets going a bit and the water heats up, but yeah, I think the bait needs to move in a bit more in the Western Sound. I know the sand eels are moving in more out east a little bit in the Middle Sound, but I think it's still not quite caught up in this neck of the woods. But the bays are good to go, so that's where I'm spending a lot of my time, even if it is a little bit more of a hike, just because it's so fun to go after the Fluke this time of year. It was really a gulp bite today. They were really keyed in on that paddle shad, which is one of my MVP lures. I think maybe because, you know, the water clarity wasn't great, you know, plus the visual, it just matched the hatch just perfectly, and then the scent, just everything taken as a whole, it was the way to go. So not every time, but today it was the right way to go. So yeah, hopefully more stuff coming soon. So thank you for watching, and of course, goodbye from fishing.